right, so we're on the last day of Monster Maze. We're looking at basically directional explorer and then level design. So let's work on that. I have to dig down to my desktop and start Game Maker. I'm excited because we're getting at the end of the Monster Maze. We'll get to try something new shortly. Here it is, Monster Maze. And again, we're going to take the same approach as we did with the spider. So let's look at the spider just to recall what we did there. Here's our spider. Hopefully we didn't already do this. Looks like I already have it there. Yeah, so we haven't done it all yet. Okay, so if you remember, we have one spider, but the spider has 4 sprites associated with it. It's got, the down spider, the right spider, the up spider, and then the left spider. So we're going to do the same thing with the Explorer. Right now we have Explorer down, right? We've been using that. But if we play the game, you'll note that the Explorer is always kind of facing us. Maybe we got to start on this and we didn't really get much further than that. Okay, so if I'm walking, oh, look, it's directional. Look at that. It's already done. I thought we hadn't done this yet. The reason I'm puzzled, like say, here's Explorer down, but here's right, up, and left. So yeah, it looks like it already got finished. So let me just review then what you need to do to make a directional explorer if you haven't done it yet. You have to have the 4 sprites, so make sure you do that. Our frame rate on the sprites is 15, right? So make sure you set those to 15, and they'll be the same. Also with the Explorer sprites, you want to make sure that the collision mask is full image. If you don't have one of these, like this is what I would check, Max, is check to see if all your collision masks on the Explorer sprites are full image. I suspect maybe down is not, but you might take a look. So make sure those all say full image. So there's one here, and then there's these other directions. Make sure they all have a frame rate. If you don't set this, then it's not going to animate. And then down here on the object, then what you want to do is here for the down event. Notice that we didn't change this, and we're not doing anything with the sprite here when we say down. What we do is we actually do that work all in the step event. So if we go to the step event, what we try to do is figure out what direction the Explorer is going and then set the correct sprite. So if we're going to the right, if the direction is equal to 0, then use the right sprite. Remember, to keep the animation animating, you have to put in 0 for the frame and say relative, which seems kind of odd because you're adding 0 to the frame. But evidently that works. And then direction equal 90, that means up. So you change the Explorer sprite. Make sure you say frame 0, relative. And then here, 180 is to the left, so use the left sprite, and then 270 is down. And then we also said this, if the speed is equal to 0, that means they're not moving horizontally or vertically. We just want to have the Explorer face forward. Now, if you're going to add a feature to your game where you want to shoot in the direction you last moved, then you don't want to do this last part. Because what we'll do is it'll turn you, and you'll forget which direction you moved last. So I'd leave that out if you're going to pick up a bow and arrow or like a gun or something. You probably don't want to do this last part. But I think it looks nice. Have the Explorer facing you when it's not moving around. So there's that. So I'm a little surprised that that's already done. I didn't think we did that yet. So that means we're done with all the objects in the game. All the game objects now work. So what's there still left to do? Well, what's still left to do is designing our rooms. Notice I don't have enough rooms here. I want to have 10 rooms. But remember, my first room is going to be my everything room, where I include everything. Does this one include everything? I've got spiders, I've got ghosts. I've got, I don't have skeletons, so I need to put a skeleton in the room. Now this everything room is just for testing, to help me out, so I test it. Oh, there's a skeleton. I didn't see him up there. So I have 2 skeletons now. We've got boulders or blocks. We've got holes. We've got the door. We've got the exit sign. We have a bomb. We'll have explosions once we do the bomb thing. Probably don't want to do this, though, because that's kind of mean, right? So we don't have a way of handling when we blow ourselves up, because if the explorer blows themselves up, you should lose a life and restart, but we didn't put that in there yet. So just don't put bombs next to detonators. That's kind of mean anyway. But is there any other game objects that aren't included here? And the answer is no. So this will help me test the room out. Like, say, I'm going to do a test with the boulder. We have a few students that are having a little bit of trouble with the boulder. Like, say, if I push this boulder, and I want to push it into the wall. I'll wait till this goes away. Okay, so I push this into the wall, and what I'm trying to do to see is if I get merged into the wall, and I can't do that. See, it doesn't let me, and I don't get out of alignment when I push it. If I push it to the bottom, I'm still good. If I push it here, yeah, that seems to be fine. So whatever I'm doing with the boulders is different for some other students. So let's just double check a few things about boulders and walls and how they interact. Looking at the block, I guess that's the boulder. Notice that it's solid. Okay, so you want to make sure that these boulders are solid. Okay. We also want to make sure the walls are solid. That would make sense. So the walls are solid. They are. Okay. So solid things behave a little bit differently. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then the explorer, we want to make sure that the explorer is not solid. Okay, so explorer is not solid. So that's the first thing to check. And then what I would do is we want to look at that collision event between the explorer and the block. Now, this is kind of odd, okay, because if you look on this side of it from the explorer's point of view, when the explorer collides with the block, what we want it to do is not do anything. So the question is, why would we want to do that? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why not just ignore it? But when you're colliding with the block, you don't want to do anything. What are you saying there? That means you're overriding something. If we look at a block, if we look at the block object, we see who its parents are. If we click on parent, we see that there is no parent. So why would we not do anything in the case where the explorer collides with the block? We're overriding something. I don't know what we're overriding. That's what I don't get. Anyway, make sure it's set like that. And then, and I'll try to figure out an answer to that question. But then you look at the block from the block's point of view. Now this is the block colliding with the explorer. It seems kind of odd. But this is where we do most of our work. Okay, so again, I have a debug message in there kind of left over from when I was trying to figure out how to make this work. So I don't need that anymore, so I'm going to delete that. But here, what I do is I set the block's direction based on the explorer's direction, because the explorer is pushing the rock around. So it's good. You want the rock to move in the direction of the explorer. And then you check to see if there's a hole there, either in front of you horizontally or in front of you vertically. This speed is important. We made the explorer move at 4 pixels per frame. This needs to add up to 32, so 8 times 4 is 32. But if you have a speed of 8 for your explorer, then you have to change this to 4. Okay, so if you're going with the faster speed, you have to monkey with this one number here. Change that. If there's a hole there, then, or if there's, what do we say? If object at place, now is this right? Yeah, I think so. We want to collide with the hole. Because remember, the hole is a wall, and it won't let us do this unless we say, okay, for just holes, we're going to allow it to collide. So that's when you jump to the point where the hole is. That should generate the collision event between the block and the hole, and then they both should disappear. But if there's not a hole there, if there's something else there, or you want to check to see if there's anything else other than the hole in that location. If there's not anything there, then we move to that location. If there is something there, it could be anything. It could be a monster, it could be a diamond, anything. If anything's in the way, it's not going to let you move. But if there's nothing in the way, then it's going to let you move the block forward. Now we want the block to move 32 pixels at a time. That way it'll stay in alignment. And then if we look with the collision event between the block and the hole, we see that we destroy ourselves, and then we destroy also the other thing, which is the hole. And now our pathway is clear going to the exit, perhaps. What else do we have? So those are all the settings. Now, if you've checked your settings and you're still having a problem with the Explorer merging with the block or the boulder, raise your hand. I'll come around and see if we can figure that out. Okay. Anyone else having that problem? You are as well? Okay. So we're trying to figure that out. Did you check all those settings I talked about? Okay. So there's still some variable that I'm not quite understanding. And so we'll try to sort that out today. Next, though, is level design. Again, you want your level design to be increasing in difficulty. Usually you want to only introduce one new object or two at a time per level. You'll need 10 levels for this to make it fun to play, and then you need a way to get to that last room. Maybe you have a treasure room, and they can score lots of points. Are we keeping track of points? No, we're not. We're just trying to get to that last room. That's what rewards the player. That's the goal, is to get to the last room. And I gave you some ideas on different level designs. Some of them, just to go over that again. That one's not very interesting, but the spider one where it chases you out of the spiral, that's kind of cool. These open rooms where you have crisscrossing monsters, that's kind of spooky. This one, you could create some kind of mazy thing that you have to, remember, two blocks right next to each other you can't push, but you can push one square at a time. So you can use that puzzle idea. And then this is a goofy treasure room if you want. I'm not sure what these things are, though. See these little squares? I don't know what those are. What's going on there? That is very strange. I don't know what that is. There's this. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. It's very strange. Yeah, that's just kind of weird looking. So anyway, you can have put in multiple explorers, and that's kind of funny too. You can spell it, you win out with explorers, or maybe with diamonds or something, or blocks, just to let them know they won. And if they hit the exit, you tell them that they won. So also make sure your cheats are working, so I can go forward. I'm just running the game now. I want to make sure I can go forward and backward. And then when I get to the exit on the final room, it should tell me I won, and it looks like I did. So, okay. And then you're done with Monster Maze. Very good. I think that's great.